What's up, everybody? Welcome to the CanesInSight Daily Podcast powered by Andrade and Levine Accident Attorneys. It's game week, baby. Monday. Hope you're having a good one as we get ready for one of the most important weeks in Miami Hurricanes football history as we gear up for Notre Dame on Sunday, August 31st. As you could expect, we're going to have wall-to-wall coverage, Hurricane this week, hype podcast, all kinds of stuff coming from CanesInSight. So keep that like and subscribe button clicking, because we are going to be on nonstop. Maybe keep the like button clicking. Just subscribe only once, and we'll be on putting out content. So appreciate everybody joining us. As always, we are brought to you by Andrade and Levine Accident Attorneys. If you or someone you care about has been injured in an accident, you could be entitled to significant compensation. Dial 1-800-747-FREE, 1-800-747-3733. Take back control of your life with Andrade and Levine. Pete, hop in.
Oh man, it almost feels surreal, D. It almost feels like Twilight Zone-ish in a way, because we're on here almost 365 days out of the year talking about this team and trying to figure out some days like what's going on today, what 2028 recruit offer are we going to talk about, but it all comes down to this, man. This is what we do it for, man, these game weeks and talking about the things that are actually going on the field. So just pumped up, man. And this isn't obviously your normal opener. You got lucky last year with Florida to have a high profile game. Now you have this one at home, but you don't ease into anything. We're pumped up though.
Yeah, man, fired up. I go back to 2017 when we were doing this podcast last game. That was before you were an agent, so you're there and back. I was a lawyer. My skin had turned pale white being in office all the time. My kid was 3 years old, which is his 11th birthday yesterday. So my oldest one, my daughter wasn't even born. Middle one was 1. So yeah, man, it's been a while. It's been a ride, but we're right back where we started.
Yeah. Let's get into it, man. Game week. Shout out to Jordan Esteban, a member of the great Esteban clan. D.
I was with his cousins yesterday, or not yesterday. Sorry, on Friday.
Are we gonna bring back Eric for the? He was good luck last year bringing him on before the Gators game, so we're gonna have to have him on as our Gators insider again.
Had the comments going crazy. Peony boys, appreciate your support. Tony, over 4 catches and 65 yards. Over.
Yeah, I would agree. I think let's go 6 catches, 85 yards.
I love it.
And a touchdown.
I love it. Real quick before, Pete, I know you got some news you want to get to, but here I got a question from Nick Isaac. I would love to hear your guys' best case, worst case scenarios for 2025. For me, best case is going 11-1 ACC champs and winning a playoff game. Worst case is missing Charlotte. By the way, appreciate the question, Nick. We actually, I went on the Flow show yesterday. Shout out to Flow. Shout out to that whole crew. And they asked this question. I kind of gave a rambling answer. If I had to make it more direct, I would say, look, this is a team that, with the parity that exists in college football, where you do not have a 2020 Alabama, you do not have a 2021, 2022 Georgia defense, you do not have 2019 LSU offense. There's not that concentration of talent because of the portal and everything else. I think the upside is Miami's one of the teams, probably 10, 12, 13, that can win a national championship. I think the parity, when people talk about parity, it doesn't mean that necessarily, NC State's competing for a championship. It means that there's less of a divide between, let's say, 1 and 10, right? There's more teams that can win it realistically. And I put Miami in that category. They're the top 10 team, according to pretty much everybody. They got a veteran quarterback. They got blue chippers commensurate with that ranking. So I don't think that that's unrealistic that they could win. I also don't think it's unrealistic they could not make the ACC championship game, miss the playoffs totally. That's happened every single year for the last 20 years. So I think both of those things could happen. I think they're realistic scenarios. I would say the first 2 non-conference games are pivotal for just kind of shaping the narrative, particularly the first one. I think you got to win the game, or if you lose, and this is a playoff caliber game, right? It's a close game that you walk away saying these are 2 playoff caliber teams, and a bounce ball here, turnover here, last drive here. It was the difference. That's to me how this one needs to go. And if it does that, you keep that momentum rolling, and obviously Carson Beck and key players stay healthy. Relatively speaking, everybody's going to have injuries, but nothing catastrophic. I think this is a team that should be favored in every single ACC game.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. If you do, because we haven't talked too much about the scenario of losing that first game, but if you do lose that game, the the mental fortitude of the team, a lot of what we've talked about Mario trying to build and what he seems confident is there in terms of the foundation of the locker room, that's going to be tested right away if that's the case. But I mean, I would agree with 11-1. Being as close to a best case scenario outside of going undefeated, obviously, that you can ask for. I said it the other day. That's my prediction is 11-1, which is a bit bold maybe, but that's how I'm feeling right now. And then worst case, there's a lot of worst case scenarios that involve injuries. I mean, what are we talking about there? But 8-4, you lose both games against those non-conference opponents that we've been talking about, and then you slip up a couple times in the ACC that we've seen them do before. So that's probably what I would say. But 11-1 is where I'm leaning right now.
Love it. I love this version of Pete. So Pete, listen, on your Discord, you reported some news. I don't say broke some news, but you identified some news that I don't know people are talking about, which is pretty important news that you put on there on the Discord first. So tell us about what's going on here and what you put out there.
Yeah, like you said, I didn't necessarily break any news here, but Mario was on with Joe Rose this morning at 6:20 a.m. We talk about these interviews. I think you and I both enjoy them because Mario, it tends to be a little bit more open with Joe, and Joe knows the way to ask questions and things like that. But and I'm sure, by the way, that Joe's given a list of things not to ask before he goes on. But in this particular case, he was asked about Mario from Joe was asked, talk to me about Malachi, Tony, Josh Moore. Do we expect those guys to play early? And he said, we do. They've both been phenomenal, very hard workers. Gave that answer about them. And then without another question being asked, near the end of that answer says, let me pull up the exact quote. But he said, guys like Jojo Trader have stepped up and had a great camp as well. We feel really confident about our wide receivers. So went out of his way to mention Jojo, say that he stepped up and had a great camp. And look, D, this has been a question that's asked, has he been healthy and all that? Obviously, we aren't always like super, hey, this guy's didn't practice today and he's dealing with this injury. But I think we are pretty good with like giving enough clues like, hey, don't worry, like this guy's going to be all right. Like he should be good to go. This isn't something you're looking at that's like going to linger into the season. And, we tried to give as many hints as we could without being, without saying that we were freaking out about the situation. But this is important. I think obviously there have been some missed reps there, but it sounds like he's been back, been moving good, and that connection's been strong with Carson Beck, who we know is a huge fan of his behind the scenes.
Yeah, Nick Isaac mentioning Jojo posted a picture of him practicing last week. He's going to be ready to go Sunday. I expect him to be all systems go, just like Mario said. I think he's going to be very hard to cover. He's probably the most athletic receiver on the team, along with Josh Moore, probably the most athletic receiver on the team, pound for pound. He can adjust to the ball. He's a natural playmaker, and he's someone that Notre Dame's got to be worried about. And that's pretty much the bottom line.
Yep. Agreed. Sorry, we're getting a text about one of these situations here.
Everything good? Everything good?
Yeah, everything's good. Everything's good.
All right, yeah, let me know offline so we could deal with it. Bagging up saying Jojo has to step up this year or get left behind. Number 2 rated receiver in the state coming out of high school, doesn't want his legacy being an often injured, unproductive receiver. Yeah, I mean, look, for the second year. Last year, he had the number 1 passing game in the country with 4 veterans ahead of him. He got an opportunity in the bowl. He looked great in the bowl. Now we ride, right? I mean, now it's the season. So I think he he has a chance to make a lot of plays. I think he's extremely, extremely just hard to cover, man, because of the change of speeds, because of the body control, because of the way he gets in and out of breaks. He's a unique kind of mover. Trying to compare him, he just looks like he's not moving fast, but he's running by guys. Jacoby George had some of that. Stacey Coley had some of that. But he's more talented than that. So, I mean, backing us, or Bugs of Plenty saying JoJo's the wide receiver version of Joe Yearby. Jeremiah is Dalvin Cook. I mean, Jeremiah is Dalvin Cook. I would agree with that comparison. JoJo, much more athletic than Joe Yearby. I mean, this is a really, really athletic, talented guy. Again, Jeremiah Smith is the #1 player in all of college football. But JoJo's not like some kind of, overachiever, undersized guy. This guy is extremely, extremely athletic. And he's going to have a chance to show it. There we go. Our boy Steve-O was on yesterday, did a great job saying smash that like button. Comment on this matchup, backing up, saying that Notre Dame says they have the 2 best cornerbacks in the nation and one of the best safeties we will see come Sunday. I mean, they had a great pass defense last year. I think I agree with Mel here. Leonard Moore is one of the best cornerbacks in the nation. Gray on the other side, is shaky. We played some good corners last year at Miami. If you think about it, California's entire secondary got drafted. Virginia Tech had secondary guys go like transfer up and get huge bags. Florida's secondary stunk. Florida State's secondary was actually pretty good, but no one really stopped, the Hurricanes. Even the teams that beat us didn't stop the passing game. So a good passing game with Shannon Dawson with a first-round quarterback and receivers that can get open, and most importantly, a running game that keeps everybody honest and an offensive line that protects the quarterback. You're going to have a chance to get open and catch the ball, especially when you have a playmaker like Jojo Trader. And feels good to be able to talk about him again, because how many Jojo Trader questions did we ignore in the chat? Probably like 75, a lot of times from the same person. But yeah, man, it's it's nice to see.
Listen, I did say like 2 weeks ago, I was like, we'll probably be hearing some more from everyone, the guy that everyone's asking about in the next week or so. So tried to give hints, but you got to be tuned into all these shows to really catch a lot of the stuff and piece it together.
And look, and Notre Dame's going to be preparing. The truth is, like, if Notre Dame wants to key in on one receiver, I wish them luck. That's not really how Miami operates. Their Carson Beck operates. This guy's a guy who spreads the ball. There's a guy who's got to find the open man. Even when he had Brock Bowers and McConkey, who are obviously elite level weapons, he wasn't a guy to me that locked on. I mean, they got open, so they got the ball, but he wasn't someone that locked on like you saw TBD do with Restrepo and in the past some other guys. So, I think that if Notre Dame wants to prepare for JoJo or Malachi Tony or whoever, go ahead. But it's easy. It's not like that easy. You gotta execute. They got great guys on the secondary. They had one of the best pass defenses in the country. We're bringing in a lot of new guys that they haven't really seen. It's go time. We'll see if they can get it done.
Jordan Esteban asking, how explosive is JoJo? I haven't seen him enough. Big playability or more of a crafty possession guy? This is something we talk about a lot. He's an interesting one because he does have big playability, but he's not going to necessarily always run by you with pure speed or body you up. What he does have, he has very good change of speeds. I think he can manipulate defenders with, slowing things down and then speeding things up, kind of like you see a lot of these guys look like basketball players out there when they're running routes with like the crossover type stuff. I think that sort of stuff, he's crafty in that sense, but the body control, when the ball's in the air, he kind of floats and can snag the ball. I think the physicality will be something he needs to continue to work on, as we've talked about, and just the overall strength. But that's how I would describe him.
Yeah, I got a question or comment from 26. Elite short area quickness like elite.
Yeah.
Rockstyle Monster saying JoJo reminds me of Stacey Coley. I would say that from an athletic standpoint. I actually think JoJo's a little more athletic, truthfully, just in terms of like jumping and all that kind of stuff. Pretty similar though. I mean, Stacey Coley was a really good athlete, but it's the same way where Stacey Coley didn't look like he was going fast, and you take a screen and you take it to the house. So I see a lot of similarities there. I mean, you saw it in the bowl game. He had 3 catches. I think one was like an out that he was wide open, or a comeback where he was like open by a mile. And then the other big one was that long catch from Cam Ward where he stiff armed the guy and
Yeah.
spun off and scored a long touchdown. That's kind of what he does. He is not. I would not call him a crafty possession guy. I would say he's a big play machine, and that's really where he's going to make his name. Look at Stacy Coley. First year, he averaged like 17 yards a catch as a freshman. So 33 catches, 591 yards, almost 18 yards a catch, 7 touchdowns. I could see something like that from Jojo Trader, just a similar line to that, maybe more yards, maybe underselling him on the yards, but I could see something like that just in terms of the big play ability. And there's a good comp too. I made this comp in the very long off season where STN says Jojo moves like Ocho
one of the
Cinco.
many comps to great NFL greats you've made, either recruiting wise or on Miami's roster.
I think I even pulled up the Ocho Cinco tape from high school that I could find, but he's similar in that the one thing I see is really similar to Ocho is very smooth in and out of breaks, not the fastest. Ocho maybe a little bigger, maybe like thicker, maybe, but again, he worked at that. But like he was really good at, like, let's say he was running a route to the sideline and the ball was behind him, and then he's like the Matrix going backwards to snag it with his hands. Talking about Chad Ochocinco. I could see similar plays from Jojo where like you think the ball's behind him or they think the ball's just out of range, and he makes some crazy adjustment, contortionist catch where he's able to bend his body fluidly and get to the ball. That's one thing that he has in his bag as far as adjusting to the ball. He's not like Josh Moore, who's, almost 215 pounds, is going to be mossing guys. He's not that kind of like contested catch kind of guy, but he has that very bendy, coordinated way of getting to the football.
Yeah, agreed. We got almost 700 on here live. D, remember to hit that like and subscribe to the channel. And we have a big week this week. Obviously, it's Notre Dame week. We have Hurricane. So that's our marathon that we do. I guess technically we started it last year. And then we always do the recruiting, the signing day in December, those marathons. But this is it's kind of our preseason extravaganza, 3 to 8 p.m. A bunch of guests who, some of them have been on before, some of them have not. So, we'll be kind of dropping that list as we get it officially here in the next 24 hours and give you guys the guest times. But again, that'll be from 3 to 8 p.m. on Wednesday with Mike Ryan, as we normally do on Wednesdays. So looking forward to that one.